Have you ever wondered what happens when someone leaves us and truly departs? What happens to their soul? Does it simply cease to exist, or is there a journey that begins, one more real than the one we experience? In ancient Indian traditions, and through enlightened yogis like Paramahansa Yogananda, it is said that the 13 nights after death are part of a mysterious, invisible journey. This is the time when the soul makes its decision to rest, wander, or reincarnate. But how does this decision occur? Does the soul watch us? Does it want to say something to us? And the biggest question, does it return? In this video, we will take you on this mysterious journey through the 13 days after death. These 13 days, often seen as just a tradition, are in fact the decisive moments for the soul. During this time, the soul reflects on its past actions and decides its future. In this segment, we will understand from Paramahansa Yogananda's perspective what happens during these 13 days, how the soul makes decisions based on its actions, and how, even while alive, we can help the soul. So, if you wish to understand the deeper truths beyond life and death, if you want to know the deeper science of the soul, this video is for you. This is not just a story. It's the truth of every soul that has lived and will one day return. Imagine you have just taken your last breath. The breath has stopped, the body is calm, and yet your consciousness is still awake. You can see everything. People are crying, touching, calling out, but you cannot respond. This is the first night for the soul, a deep silence, a heavy mystery, and an experience unique to every soul. What we call death is actually the opening of the greatest door to life. Paramahansa Yogananda says that death is not an end, it is seeing life through the eyes of the soul. On this first night, the soul looks at its body, but now it is merely a lifeless shell that it has left behind. The sounds of the mourners reach the soul, but it can no longer respond. The soul begins to realize, I am no longer a part of this world. The soul gradually ascends, as if some invisible force is pulling it. Sometimes it moves slowly, sometimes quickly, but it watches its family, its home, every object it was once attached to. And then a remarkable revelation happens. Everything in life that we never took seriously, like love, compassion, forgiveness, and actions, now begin to unfold like a movie in front of the soul. Every memory, every action, every sorrow, and every joy all descend into the soul's consciousness. This is the beginning of the soul's review journey. But does the soul want to return? Does it feel fear, or does it feel peace? This entirely depends on its actions, tendencies, and the state of its death. Some souls are calm, as if they have completed their duties, while others are lost, confused, or unsettled. On this first night, the soul understands that the body is now a memory for its loved ones, and at that moment, an invisible path opens before it. Some light, some figure, or simply a vibration calls the soul towards it. Now, the soul must decide, will it move toward the light, or will it remain attached to its loved ones? This is the first night, the moment when the soul first experiences its full freedom from its physical form, and along with it, the deepest loneliness. After the first night, what happens next? Can the soul move forward? Or is this the beginning of the most mysterious 13-day journey where the soul enters the subtle realms, encountering its past actions? We will now understand the subtle journey of the soul and how it faces its actions. The first night has passed, and now the soul has crossed a threshold, leaving behind the world of physical bodies, relationships, and familiar sounds. It now enters a subtle realm where everything is visible, but nothing is solid. Every emotion has a color, every thought has a fragrance. This is the world of the subtle body, where the soul faces its past, present, and future head-on. It is not a physical world, nor is it heaven or hell. It is a field of actions where the soul's true reckoning begins. Like a giant movie, the soul replays its entire life. Every word spoken, every action, every pain given, every love shown, all of it plays in front of the soul, not judged, but reflected like in a mirror. And here, no deception works. The soul knows exactly where it abandoned truth and where it committed wrongdoing out of attachment. Paramahansa Yogananda says that in the subtle realms, the soul doesn't just see its actions, it feels how it made others feel. If you caused someone pain, now the soul experiences that pain itself. If you gave someone genuine love, the soul bathes in that very energy of love. This is the echo of karma, cleansing the soul so it can move forward. And then, a subtle guide appears, sometimes as light, sometimes in the form of an ancestor, or simply as a vibration leading the soul to its next destination. For some souls, this experience is blissful, like climbing the steps to heaven. But for others, it's a journey of suffocation, regret, and confusion. Why? Because everyone creates karma, but the intention behind it is what defines everything. Were your actions a support for others or a burden? This subtle journey teaches the soul that life wasn't a small event, it was a universe in every moment. Whatever you put into it is now returning to you. Now the soul is given a subtle glimpse. Will it be reborn in a new life? Will it rest for a while? Or are there unresolved matters still holding it back? And if the soul is too deeply attached, bound by regret, grief, or desire, it begins to wander. Yes, these are the souls that linger around homes, loved ones, or places of unfinished business during these 13 days. Sometimes they send signals through dreams, scents, or subtle emotions, but they remain entangled in emotional knots. That's why our ancestors created the tradition of Pine Dawn, prayers, and remembrance over 13 days to help the soul become free from this subtle journey and move onward. Now the soul stands at a turning point. Will it remain bound by attachment, or will it accept its karma and move on to the next plane? This is the midpoint of the soul's subtle journey, the middle stage of the 13 days. Confusion or peace. At this stage, the soul is already free from the body. It stands at the gateway of the subtle realms, having glimpsed its karma. Now, it stands at a threshold where the next direction of its journey is determined. This is the middle period of the 13 days, where the soul is neither here nor there, not fully detached from earth, and not fully integrated into the higher realms. This state is extremely delicate. The soul is still emotionally tied to its home, family, loved ones, and unfulfilled dreams. Often, it tries to call out to its dear ones, but no one can hear. It's present, yet invisible. During this time, the soul experiences longing, attachment, regret, and sometimes even frustration. If the mind of the soul is calm, it rises gracefully with the warmth of prayers and Pine Dawn, like a wave slowly leaving the shore for the depths of the ocean. But if the soul is heavy burdened by grief, unfulfilled desires, or incomplete karmate, begins to drift, to wander. That's why this period is also called Madhya Brahman, the phase of the wandering middle. Here, the soul might experience many things. It might watch its own final rites. It might return again and again to visit a particular person. Some souls return to their favorite place temples, childhood homes, riverbanks. But all of this is limited to watching and feeling. They cannot touch, speak, or act, only wait in awakened awareness. This is a very fragile state. If the soul lingers too long in this phase, it risks becoming stuck permanently between this world and the next. These are the souls we often refer to as spirits, wandering ghosts, or restless beings. But this isn't a punishment. It's simply a consequence of attachment. The soul has not let go, neither has anyone let it go. That's why, in our scriptures, we're instructed to perform rituals, chants, shraddha, and deep dawn for 13 days, not merely as customs, but as bridges of energy. When someone lovingly says, "Go, you are free," the soul finds its path. But when someone clings, saying, "I can't live without you, don't leave me," the soul becomes bound, and this leads to wandering. Now, the soul faces its greatest test. It longs for connection, but also feels called to move on. Some souls gather the courage and begin their journey toward the light, while others remain trapped. Paramahansa Yogananda once said that after death, the soul is not only bound by karma, but also by its desires. That's why, during this time, our responsibility is to pray, to lovingly set the soul free. 13 days pass, and now the soul must decide. Will it be reborn, rest for a while in the subtle realms, or remain trapped in attachments and become a wandering spirit? The choice is hers, but we can be a light on her path. So, does the soul move forward? Does it find a new door into birth? Or does it choose its own future path? Let us now explore the soul and reincarnación, a new life, or a pause. This section explores that critical moment in the soul's journey when it decides. Should it take birth again, or rest briefly in the lap of the cosmos? 13 days, 13 profound nights, 13 opportunities for the soul to understand, accept, and move forward. Now, the soul stands at a crossroad where two paths await, one of rebirth and the other of temporary restand sometimes, a rare third path where the soul merges into cosmic consciousness. But this last path is extremely rare. By now, the soul has seen its karma. It has deeply experienced its attachments, its love, and even its mistakes. Now comes the moment of decision. Will the soul choose rebirth, like a seed ready to return to the soil to sprout again? Or is it tired, exhausted by the Cyclean desires to pause in the calm plane of the subtle world? Here begins a divine conversation between the soul and the cosmic consciousness. There are no words, only vibrations, frequencies, light, and a profound inner knowing. Some souls say, "I want to go back. I have things to complete, to correct." Others whisper, "Not yet. Let me rest." Paramahansa Yogananda said, "To take birth again is not a punishment. It is the soul's will in its quest for completeness. If the soul chooses rebirth, then according to divine will and in alignment with its karma, desires, and unfinished leçons, is drawn to a suitable womb, and that womb is never a coincidence. Every soul takes birth into a family where it has karmic debts, unresolved love, or lessons yet to learn. In this way, the soul once again becomes limited, bound in a body, lost in childhood, and once more cloaked in the veil of illusion, Maya. But the souls who are granted rest stay in the subtle realms for a time, immersed in light, harmony, peace, and pure awareness. They reflect, they learn. Sometimes they commune with higher souls. These are the souls in divine consciousness, or those resting in a state of inner realization. Here, there is no deceit, no greed, for joy, only the presence of silence, serenity, and supreme love. So the question is not, where does the soul go? The real question is, did we allow her to go? Did we turn our love into a chain or offer it as a blessing so she could fly? These 13 days are coming to an end. The soul is now moving toward her next stage: rebirth, rest, or liberation. But is that the end of the story? Now comes our part. What can we do after the soul departs? Do our prayers really help? In the final part, we will explore the farewell of the soul, what we do, why we do it, and how it carries emotional depth, spiritual meaning, and transformative power. 13 days have passed 13 nights, 13 turning points for the soul heading toward her next realm. But those 13 days were not only for her. They were for us too, for those of us who couldn't let go, who longed to see her just once more, who cried, shattered, and still found the courage to say goodbye. But have you ever wondered, when we light a lamp, offer shraddha, or give pine dawn, what actually happens? Does it reach the soul, or is it merely tradition? Paramahansa Yogananda said, "When any action is performed with love and devotion, dedicated to a departed soul, it reaches not only the outer world, but touches the very consciousness of that soul." So when you chant a mantra, its vibration reaches the soul. When you offer food, a subtle essence of it reaches the soul, and when you bid farewell with love, it recognizes your energy. The final pine dawn on the 13th day is not just about offering food, it's a message to the soul. Go, we free you with love. Your journey now continues. People often ask, does the soul return? The answer is, the soul is always present within your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, but its state changes. If you send it off with love, it protects you from above, becoming a source of energy and support. However, if you hold on to it with tears, it can get trapped in attachment and wander. Therefore, the true purpose of shraddha is not just to offer food to the soul, it's to transform our relationship with it into a radiant connection. Now, the soul is elsewhere, maybe in another life, or resting in a subtle realm, or perhaps still here, living through our actions. The greatest devotion we can offer the soul is to pray for it, serve in its name, offer alms, or help others. Because when we do so, the soul feels that its life was not in vain. It lives on through our actions. And in the end, the true mystery of death is this: no one ever dies. They only change form, state, and consciousness. Like the breeze, unseen but felt. Like the sunlight, unseen but warming the soul. In the same way, the soul, on its journey, is always with you. So, the next time you lose someone, don't bid them farewell with tears. Instead, say, "Go, may your journey be great, and when we meet again, may I recognize you." This is the completion of the 13-day mysterious journey, the secret of life after death, and the most sacred expression of love.